Pleasure you could stay on. I am Pious Kojo Backah to our very first story. About 40 students of Krobi Asante Technical and Vocational School at Asokore in the Ashanti region have been arrested for causing damage to school property. The students went on rampage Sunday morning protesting over the poor results of their predecessors in their final examination. About 4 government vehicles and 2 private vehicles are amongst the affected vehicles. Nana Yaojima joins us via Zoom with details. Nana, grateful you could join us on Joy News Prime. Now, aside what the students destroyed, what more did they also destroy?
In an attempt to get access to one of the accommodation facilities for teachers on campus, some of these students were able to get, in an attempt, some of these students threw stones or pelted stones at the bungalow of the senior house mistress, and through that, some parts of the building which houses the senior house mistress was affected by the stones that they pelted at the house. And also, other important students, the students also broke into that, and some of the food stored in there, they had access to them and cut them open and threw them inside the room, and also made away with some supplies that government had given to the school. So these supplies and others were all destroyed by these students aside the vehicles. So they've caused some damage on the campus.
And we understand the school has been closed down. Bring us up to speed on that.
So after the incident early this morning, we had a team from the Ghana Education Service and also from the Regional Security Council and also District Security Council visiting the school. And upon their assessment, I understand that an information was sent to the Ghana TVET services, and upon the advice of the Regional Security Council and also the District Security Council, the Ghana TVET services took a decision to shut down the school and also called on parents who have their wards in this school to come and pick their wards. And also, according to the release that was brought out by the Ghana TVET services, they have dispatched some policemen to go into the school and ensure that these students are evacuated, one, and secondly, ensure that they protect lives and property within the school. And the statement goes forward to say that whenever there is an update, the parents with their wards in this school will be updated on further development. And what I can report is that there are some students who are still in the police custody, and the police are questioning some of these students.
All right, so do we know what becomes of these 40 students after they've been interrogated by the police?
So far, the information that we have is that police will continue investigation, and whatever the update is, we'll get them and bring it to our viewers.
All right, grateful Nana Yaojima for your time here on Joy News Prime, filling us in with the very latest from Ashanti region. Now, in education, some parents in Kumasi say they are compelled to withdraw their wards from private basic schools as the cost of education in those facilities shoots up. The worried parents say moving their ward to public schools has become inevitable due to the ballooning cost of tuition, feeding, transportation, and stationery. They believe it has become necessary to find an equally good but affordable education for their wards. Love FM's Clinton Yeboah caught up with some parents and has filed this report.
Is only having a toll on people's pockets, including the educational choices of parents. Now, parents are compelled to enroll their wards in a school of circumstance other than school of choice. Really it is now expensive for parents to walk their wards to the gates of private schools to access quality education. The cost of tuition, transportation, feeding, and even stationery has seen an almost 200% increase. This has affected pupil intake in private schools, with some schools recording low attendance.
International school, class 4 Accra, no go to 60 cities. Primary 4 is buying 10 books at 45 Ghana cedis and 60 cedis each, aside school fees, transportation and feeding. Considering all these, it's economical to enroll him in a government school where everything is free.
Now almost school fees this year.
The bill received for my 2 children in a private school was too much. I am paying almost 2,000 cedis for books, so I have decided to enroll them in a public school.
The intakes in private schools are decreasing, and this has the potential of collapsing the private education sector. We spoke to the stakeholders who are concerned about the issue. But for some education officials, it is a positive gain as they comment on the government for its intervention to salvage the education in public schools. Ashanti Regional Director of Education, Willie Kwame Amanka Apia, says interventions like school feeding, no school fees are some pull factors for the spree for public education.
There are a lot of government intervention. If you come to the private school, the cost is there, but when you come to the public school, we don't take anything. We have food feeding. We give them food. So at the end of the day, it lessens the burden of the parents. So some of these things is aiding up for them to bring their children to the public schools.
Educationist Bashir Shuhu, however, believes the situation may leave many private school owners bankrupt, render many unemployed, and eventually collapse the private education sector. He is proposing the government extend the free stationery initiative to private schools and tax waivers to ensure sustainability of the private education sector.
If a school goes down or closes down, it means you have more than 10 people losing their job. The employer who has invested so much may not be able to even recoup anything. So if somebody is coming in to shoulder the government responsibility, the government must not renege on supporting these private schools. These textbooks that parents are crying, the government could at least give them a section of it for their libraries. They pay taxes. If government can give them some level of waiver, because they pay tax on every single teacher, government could give them some leverage, some waiver, some deductions. I'm pretty sure most of the schools will bounce back.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yeboah.
Longer on education, and the multimedia group launched the classroom project over a year ago as a solution to 2 of the hundreds of weak school structures dotted across the country. Well, the first project, situated at Bremanjamra in the Isikuma Odobin Burakwa district of the Central Region, is currently at the roofing stage and requires more funds for completion. The second project is in Tolon in the Northern Region, with construction yet to start. Over 700 school children will benefit from the project when completed. My colleague Richard Kojo Backah visited Bremanjamra DA Basic School site and has filed this report.
So we are currently at Bremanjamra DA Basic School, and this is where 6 years ago the unfortunate occurrence where 6 kindergarten school pupils were killed. I mean, the building they called classroom collapsed on them and their lives were snuffed out. 6 years on, that building has been completed, but there is another building here that is a death trap. The children have their hearts in their mouth whenever they enter this building. So look at the footings of this building. All of these things are removing gradually. They are being removed and the building shakes visibly. Get here. This place shakes. As soon as you hit it slightly, then it shakes. It threatens to break away from the entire structure. So the kids do play, and unfortunately, if any of them should lean on this wall, then the unfortunate thing would happen. Now when it rains, rain seeps through the roofing heavily, and so classes have to be disrupted. Academic activities have to come to a halt. The school pupils have been telling us that they feel unsafe. They are afraid for their lives whenever it rains, because when it rains, the entire building shakes very well, and they feel threatened. And they have the unfortunate occurrence 6 years ago on the back of their mind that something could happen. So what have you been learning today?
It is dangerous for us to learn in. When the rain enters the classroom will be very dirty here. So we don't want this class again. We want a new one. So we don't want this class, we want the other one there. We please them to help us this new building so that we can live comfortably in that new room.
Because when it is raining, our ceiling will be removing. The water will be coming inside this room, so we don't want this class again. We want a new one. We feel shaking. When the rain is falling, we feel shaking, we fear, so that the building will break in. So we want the government to build another school for us. We are telling them to come and help us to build the room, because we are begging them to come and help us to build the building.
Fortunately, the multimedia group decided to embark on a project and then build a classroom structure that could accommodate the kids. In fact, the kids are crammed in some of the classrooms, and it makes academic work very, very difficult. So this is the entire structure that multimedia has been working on, and it has gotten to the roof level, and we need your support. We need the support of the entire country. We cannot wait for any calamity to befall kids yet again in the name of accessing education. And that is why this project ought to be completed, so that the kids can move in from the dilapidated structure they currently call the classroom into this new one. Get 60,000 Ghana cedis, the entire building would be completed and ready to be handed over to the school.
At the moment, we are at the roofing stage, and all we need is the roof members to come, and then the sheet will be on it. Then we'll do the ceiling joint, get the doors and the windows fixed. Then we come to a final stage where the tiling will come, and then also the jointing and pointing for this finishing will come. Then we are done. So at the moment, if I have to estimate, I would say we are like 70% done. We're just left about 30%. But the energy is not coming, and we need help to be able to rescue these innocent kids. Because some of us dedicated our time and energy and our knowledge, wisdom, and then this technology to come in and support. It costs me a lot, but it doesn't amount to human life. I mean, if I go to bed always getting scared that what if something happens to these kids, they will go like, they started but they couldn't complete it.
What is keeping you on?
Yes, that is what is giving me the energy to still try to push so that we can get this done and then hand it over to the community. Because these kids, look, the last time I was here, when we were on site, when it started raining, before I could say Jack, the kids, all of them came into the corridor just because they were scared that the roof of the structure could be lifted off.
How much are we talking about here?
Like I said, if I should do rough estimate, we need a little under 60,000, because you're talking about the woodworks for the roof itself. We need a sheet, we need the windows and the doors fixed. You understand? And then workmanship, and then we need a ceiling, or everything. That amount should be able to sort us out.
So I am appealing to you to help us, the multimedia group, to help with this project. Help us contribute your quota so that we will not be visited with any disaster, we will not come here to be reporting disasters, but we will be coming here to be reporting about the successes chalked by these students, because they need to also study in environments like their peers, like their counterparts in other parts of the country.
A reminder you watch and join News Prime with me, Pious Kojo Backah. There will be business after this. Welcome back. Let's do some business stories. Insurance companies have been challenged to underwrite big-ticket risks. Chairman of the McDan Group of Companies, Daniel Macaulay, has expressed disappointment in insurers' inability to provide cover for private jets and helicopters in the country. Speaking at a president's cocktail organized by the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, Mr. Macaulay said the new private jet services at the airport presents a lot of business opportunities for insurance companies to take advantage of.
When my private jet was being procured, it couldn't be insured in Ghana because our aviation sector doesn't take local insurance for international private jets, and I was a bit surprised. If you have called me here today to address you, I expect you to move beyond what you are doing currently. Now, as I speak to you, I have 2 more private jets to insure. This week, I'm insuring one which will fly in on 31st of January. I have an helicopter ride on grounds which must be insured. And none of you have been able to take that up. I've called about 4 insurance companies, and none have been able to competitively convince me as a private individual you can do the job.
The Ghana Investment Promotion Center has disclosed that it will continue to create more B2B opportunities for Ghanaian businesses to interact and share business ideas with their foreign counterparts. This assurance is coming at a time the center is hoping to boost the trade volume between Ghana and Malta this year, despite the current economic challenges. Speaking to Joy Business, Deputy Chief Executive of the GIPC, Yao Amwate-Defiyi, stated that his outfit is poised to generate more local and foreign direct investments into the country this year.
Using platforms like this, where Maltese and Ghanaian businesses are able to interact, converge and talk about commercial opportunities within healthcare, within agriculture, within tourism, and all the other sectors under focus, we believe that we can increase the figure of $20 million, which the GIPC has recorded as the total foreign direct investment from Malta since 1994 to date. And so these are some of the strategies, these are some of the platforms that we believe that Ghanaian businesses ought to be taking advantage to interact with their Maltese counterpart to increase that figure, right? B2B sessions, government to government interactions. Already the political side has made a lot of strides. The president has gone to Malta, I think in 2019. Their premier was here, I believe, in 2017. So using that as the anchor, we want to build on the business-to-business interaction between Ghanaian and Maltese. So when you're talking about strategies, I believe that this is one of the most obvious and most eloquent ways that Ghanaian businesses ought to take advantage of the prospects that the Maltese companies bring to Ghana.
Thanks so much for your company. I am Pious Kojo Backah. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. Grateful serving you. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.